Yo, what's up guys, it's Tal, and today I'm going to be reviewing a Xayah game for you guys. Really going to just kind of talk about how to farm up well on a champion, how to play well from behind as an ADC, and why you really shouldn't give up in games. So in this game specifically, they have a Vi, they have Alistar, they have a lot of dive champions, Aatrox as well, Kai'Sa. So Xayah was just an insanely good pick here, so I went with Xayah. And when you especially have these types of picks where you get a really good counter pick and you have like a really 1v9 champion in certain drafts, I really recommend not giving up in games even if they don't go well early on. But we'll talk about the late game as we get closer to that. For now, we're just going to go through the lane phase. So I'm into an Alistar, and I know he can't do anything level 1, so I'm free to just walk up and auto attack him. You see he'll W me sometimes, but it doesn't really do much damage, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Just walking at him and trading autos, stacking up my lethal tempo, and just getting some poke onto him before he gets level 2. Once the Alistar gets level 2, that's when I'm a bit more afraid of him. So definitely want to take advantage of the level 1 when I can. Yeah, now the reason I'm hitting the wave here is because I want to get level 2 first. It's very important as a duo lane to understand that you want level 2. So that's why you see me immediately using my first ability on the wave. Just simply trying to get level 2. Now, my jungler is currently not on my side of the map, and I don't know where Vi is, but Vi is a champion who ganks very well early, so I want to make sure I have feathers set up to possibly stop the gank, and I don't want to push too far under their tower. So you're going to see I'm going to hit the wave, but I'm not going to overly hit it. I'm not going to push it in too fast. I'm just going to try to match the tempo and the amount of times that the Kai'Sa hits it and just keep it at a roughly equal state in the lane. I'm not too opposed to getting ganked though, because as Xayah, I'm very good at avoiding ganks with my feathers, but I'm mostly playing pretty, like, you know, just kind of whenever they go in, that's when I'm going to go for this stuff. You can see they go too far up the Alistar here, and we end up getting a free kill on him. And then we do go for the Kai'Sa as well. We just keep auto attacking, getting as much damage, and I do flash for her, but she flashes back out, and the Vi comes at this exact moment. So I probably shouldn't have ended up wasting my flash, because I do see the Vi, or I know that Vi is on this side of the map because my jungler was on the other side, but we do almost end up getting the outplay here anyways. We do still get the kill on Vi, so it's not too bad. I do think I went a bit too aggressive with my flash, knowing again that Vi was there, but either way, it ended up working out all right for us. We got some gold, so we're quite strong, but the Vi did get a kill as well, so that's a bit tough. I think this is the game where Vi goes Duskblade. Like, she was going like full lethality. It was kind of weird. But yeah, at this point in the game, we're pretty fine. I almost have my ultimate up. When I have my ult, I can be pretty aggressive. Kind of don't have to worry about ganks as much when you have ult on Xayah. Also, the fact that Vi just ganked me makes me assume that Vi is probably going towards top side now. Typically, that's what happens. If the jungler is on your side of the map for a while, they usually go to the other side after because they want to farm their camps. So when Alistar goes in here, I'm happy to trade with him and walk up as much as I want to. And then my jungler is also here now, so I know that we can possibly set up for you know, a gank or anything if my jungler comes by, because Camille with her ultimate is very, very good at setting stuff up. Now Vi did go in mid lane and get a double kill, so that's not very good for us, but again, we're just kind of, I want to get this wave crashed under the tower so that it resets back to mid lane, or rather back to the middle of the map. The reason for this is because obviously I want them to have to walk up and hit the wave. I don't want the wave pushing under their tower. Especially with Alistar, he can threaten me by using his flash and then Qing me and then Wing me under tower. So I definitely don't want to be pushed up too far under the tower into an Alistar. So I'm just, again, kind of keeping the wave neutral and just going to poke them whenever they decide to go in. The Kai'Sa uses her Q on the wave, so I'm fine with letting the wave push into me like this and just kind of letting them come into me. With Xayah, I'm really happy to kind of let them come into me, obviously with my feathers. Generally, I want to bait them in and let them make the first move, and then I kind of, you know, just use my abilities, use my feathers to just kind of turn the fights around like that. That's typically how you want to play Xayah, or just in the back waiting for them to go in on you. At this point, still not much going on. We're just kind of waiting for a Camille again. If Camille goes for the gank, we'll try to bait them in and go for a potential trade and go for the kill if we can, but otherwise, there's not much we're going to be able to do. And this guy's been playing Aatrox mid a lot recently. The person I'm playing against is kind of weird, but he does really well in it, so definitely a strange pick, but it does work really well into like assassins and stuff. Playing Aatrox mid, I mean, you can just push and roam if you're into a worse matchup. Now to have my item, I'm just gonna back here. It's always good to obviously back and get your first item before the objective, but I do get my back canceled, and at this point, I don't really feel comfortable backing. It looks like I might end up backing. So yeah, I back anyways. I get my item, and I'm still gonna be able to get there in time, so shouldn't be any problem. They won't even push the wave, so we're chilling. I have a bit of a gold lead. The way I want to play these fights is really just let my teammates kind of go in and engage for me if the fight does end up happening, and all I'm gonna do is just auto attack and ult and react to things coming on me. If anyone, you know, ults onto me or anything like that, I'll just use my ultimate. I think I should have warded the dragon there. I have 2 wards. That's not great. I should have used it on the dragon, but it is what it is. And then I want to push this wave before I rotate to the dragon. Usually it's important to push your waves before you rotate instead of just going straight to it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And it looks like Camille's just going to go for the steal here and ends up getting it. I think I could auto-attacked over the wall a little more, but we got the dragon, so at this point I just kind of want to get out. I'm just going to, again, try to bait them in. I have my ultimate, so I might as well try to bait them in. I kind of messed up my feathers, though, so it doesn't look like much happens here. And we are in a bad spot. So at this point, we got first dragon, but obviously we're losing those fights. We're pretty weak, but I know that my champion does really well in the later parts of the game, so I'm just going to be farming up and focusing on getting as much gold as possible. And hopefully, by some miracle, we're able to come back. Like, top lane's doing really poorly. No really lanes are going super well, and you're going to see here that I am going to end up rotating to the Herald. Main reason because my brand's already there covering. And I feel like this would be a good time to kind of turn it around and potentially get the Herald and snowball the game. So I normally would want to farm up in this situation, but since I ended up backing up anyways, and I know Kai'Sa's not really threatening the turret, I think this is a good opportunity for me to get here before Kai'Sa and hopefully end up winning this fight. So you're going to see I'm just going to, you know, use everything I can. I'm going to get a nice little 3-man route there, and we are going to end up winning the fight. So the reason we win that really is because the Kai'Sa is already like on a laid back, and she also can't pressure the turret or anything. And I'm able to get there before her and provide a lot of value to my team. And then we end up getting the Herald here. Now, my brand was... He did not understand how to use Herald here. He should have just dropped it straight mid for plates. But he doesn't do that. And then you're going to see he's not going to drop it until the plates fall. So we have 50 seconds until plates fall. And he's not going to drop it until after that. So he's going to get no gold from them. I try to type to him in game just to tell him the Herald. I'm really bad at typing. I don't think he know what I meant. I said use it. I was hoping he'd understand I meant Herald, but I suck at typing. I like never type in this game, so I was just typing there to try to get him to understand, but it didn't work out clearly. And then he's going to end up dropping it top at the end to get first turret, which is an interesting decision for sure. Not a good one. But yeah, my teammates this game really weren't very good. I am duo with the Camille. The Camille is a very good player, but the rest of my team did not do too well. But even despite, you know, teammates not doing well, if you just are in these types of games, really all you can do is be patient and wait for a good opportunity to come up. I'm not trying to overly force things as an ADC. That was one of my main issues when I used to play ADC a lot, would be I would try to force things too much and try to do too much myself as an ADC. But that's just not possible. Just simply speaking, ADC is a role which is very much focused on your teammates and making the plays, and a lot of times you kind of just have to play mechanically very well, play smart, space well, and all of that. And if you're able to do that in ADC and farm up well and deal a lot of damage in the fights, that's really your job. If your teammates end up not doing their job, usually it's not a great idea to try to, you know, do their job for them. Now, unfortunately, Alistar goes behind me here, so I have to waste my ultimate, but it is what it is. Not the end of the world losing my ultimate before. There's no objective or anything like that, so we're not too worried. I'm going to take a sip of water, guys, so just give me 1 second. So yeah, my Twisted Fate is here, which is kind of strange, but we do get the root onto Alistar, so I guess we do win this trade. I guess we'll just go for turret at this point. Might as well. Again, like, it's not bad too to sometimes greed for gold or greed for turrets or other things, especially with the turret bounties or like the gold bounties. I think it's not a bad idea to sometimes get a big greedy for turrets when you are behind and just really focus on getting gold in any way you can. Like, especially as an ADC who's really strong in the late game. Like, again, in this game, Xayah is super good because of all the dive they have. My main goal is just getting myself gold. If my teammates want to feed, they can feed. But in the end, if we have one good team fight where I get a really good pullback on feathers or anything like that, I mean, we can still win, even despite being kind of behind here. I'm rotating to mid now because I want to protect our mid turret. I want to get the mid prio before the objective. And I also would prefer to be in mid as an ADC generally because it's easier, more access to farm, and easier to fight in general. So I'd prefer Twisted Fate to be on the side lane. He's a very good side lane champion, so if we can, we want to get to mid when we, like, you know, around this point in the game. So I'm hoping that my Twisted Fate goes to bot lane, and it looks like he does, which is really good for us. Now I can kind of just sit here, poke people out, try to do some damage to them, farm up, you know, all that. Always pretty nice as an ADC to be in mid lane, especially when you're doing well. If you're doing kind of poorly, that's more the time when you're going to want to sit back and let your teammates kind of carry you. Let them be in mid lane, let them make the plays, and you just farm up and maybe follow them to objectives and that type of thing. So kind of important to understand when you should and shouldn't be mid lane in general as ADC. So now for this fight, once again, we're just kind of sitting back, auto-attacking, and hoping that they engage on us stupidly like this Alistar does here. And I'm going to try to react to anything that comes on me, just using my feathers or using my ult. And we're going to get a nice kill there. Just you can see we're kind of spacing pretty well here. And at this point now, I don't know what we'll do. I think we'll just kind of pressure the dragon, because their jungler is obviously dead, so there's not much they can do. Which is, you know, pretty good for us. Sorry, I got a notification on Discord. I got kind of distracted there. But yeah, I mean, because of the fact that their jungler is dead, we kind of just get this for free now. Again, like, this is why Xayah is so insane too. Like, anytime that they pick like Vi, but I've seen a lot of Vi lately. They pick Alistar, like anything that's gonna dive onto you. Xayah is a great pick. It's really, really easy, honestly, to just play this champion into these types of comps. So if you're, you know, if you feel like one thing you struggle with is your positioning, or you make some mistakes as ADC, Xayah is a pretty good champion to kind of alleviate that weakness, because you have the ultimate, you have the feathers, you have so many ways to escape. You can be really aggressive. So if you feel like you're too aggressive sometimes, this is a great champion for you guys. And you're going to see here, just setting up my feathers, and I'm being patient, waiting for them to really come in, and then using the feathers once that's up. But, you know, I'm not instantly just pulling my feathers as soon as possible. Instead, I'm kind of waiting for them to all come in and go on me, and then easily just get it from there. My Brand got a nice stun there, and then Vi jumps in. She doesn't ult onto me, which means I can easily kill her once again. So just generally, oh, and then I almost get the triple kill there. Unfortunately, Kai'Sa flashes away. But you can see there's really nothing they can do here, guys. And this is kind of like an important thing I think a lot of people don't realize, is compositions and scaling and all of these things are important to pay attention to. Even if your early game goes really poorly, oftentimes if you and your teammates keep decent mental and just keep playing the game out, people are going to throw. Because if you think about it, you guys have all played a lot of games where teammates give up or start trolling after you're losing, right? And those games happen and they suck. But when those games happen, it means that people don't learn how to actually close out games. A lot of people, it's like in solo queue, you either win, you stomp the game, or you get stomped. It feels like often there's not much in between because people give up so easily. So when you're able to actually, like, you know, persist through these games and like keep trying to win even despite it, usually people are pretty bad at closing out games. They don't really understand how to play. And again, if you have the scaling advantage, or you're strong and the rest of your team's maybe not so strong, there's always that chance that just one person makes a dumb mistake on the enemy team and you end up throwing the game. Like, I'm sure we've all had those games that we throw, you know, and they do happen to the opponents as well. So I do recommend not giving up in most situations. Generally, there are games where you could give up. Like, if it's like 20-0 or something, maybe then I understand, you know, not trying your hardest or something. But generally, most games are pretty winnable. You're going to see we're going to get another kill on the Vi there, and then I'm just going to ult out so that we don't die or nothing. And I'm, again, just sitting here. I'm on the mid wave. If they decide to go into me, then great. Like, sometimes, you know, as an ADC, you just got to react to these types of plays like this. I'm going to try to stop them from getting Baron now. I don't know if we're going to be successful in it, but that will be the goal. Their jungler's dead, so it's kind of a weird thing to start it. Like, I don't really know what they're doing. But yeah, I mean, we end up getting the kill onto the Kai'Sa there, and then I think Alistar might die as well, though. I think they get the Baron. This is a really stupid play from them, and this is kind of one of those things that I was talking about in one of my previous videos, and that's kind of forcing stupid plays when you're winning. Like, my opponents are winning, their jungler is dead, and yet they're forcing the Baron. Two of them die. I get a lot of gold, and even if, sure, they got the Baron, they don't actually gain much value from it, and they give a Xayah a third item, which is just not a good idea. Giving Xayah 3 items, like, it's just really, really stupid, honestly. Like, just giving me free gold like that, giving it to the AD carry. Like, every kill is not the same value in terms of, even if it's each worth 300 gold, if that 300 gold is going on to a Xayah versus their 300 gold going on to someone less important, like, I don't know, a Vi or whatever, it's not equal, especially when you're ahead. There's no reason to try to feed the carry like this and just kind of overly force plays. So definitely too aggressive by my opponents there. Now I'm just going to kind of sit here and push in mid. And what they should do here is they should have people on every lane. They should have someone pushing top, someone pushing mid, someone pushing bot. Ideally, you'd probably have any good split pusher on top, any good split pusher on bot lane, and then you would have the rest of the people mid. You'd have one person pushing the wave and the other two people kind of hovering around top or bot and, like, you know, being in between mid and another lane. But instead, you're going to see they're just going to keep pressuring mid and do nothing else. No one's on any other side lane. They're just sitting mid lane and allowing me to easily just clear the wave. They're not going to get through me. I'm just going to continue to protect this mid tower as Xayah. So definitely a pretty bad job of, like, really getting anything out of their Baron here. And now we're just gonna obviously try to fight the dragon. I have stasis, I have exhaust, I have flash, I have ult, I have everything. So this fight is definitely pretty likely to be a win if I just play really well, if I just get as much damage out as possible. No matter what my teammates do, with all the resources I have as Xayah, I'm very self-sufficient. So now we're gonna end up they're gonna start it right away, and we're not really gonna actually get any value out of it. But if they overextend, I'll definitely go for kills. You can see I'm not really overvaluing like this dragon or going for one random fight. If we can play the fight, it's great, but I'm not going to force it if my teammates don't go forward. I'm just going to continue to be patient and stall out the game. Since we already have some dragons, I'm not too worried about losing one anyways. Then this is here when the Alistar gets caught out and I get another free kill. So again, just patience in these games when we're scaling is really kind of the main thing I want you guys to take away from this game. You don't need to overly force stuff when you're like in a scaling advantage, you know? If we had a really bad early game or a really bad late game and we were like, say, Draven, Lee Sin, Pyke, in that situation, sure, I might want to force plays earlier on, and it might be more like, you know, the game's kind of unwinnable if we aren't ahead in gold by a certain point in the game. But with this type of composition, the longer the game goes, the better. So I'm just sitting mid wave. You can see protecting the mid tower for as long as possible. Now, I do give it up here because I don't think I'd be able to defend it. And I think, honestly, it was a mistake. I think I should have been mid lane. I think I could have just stayed and cleared the wave and then backed after. But you can see how long we kept that mid turret up even though we're losing. And they really can't do anything to me. Again, like, Xayah is so hard to kill. Anytime that there's a fed Xayah on the enemy team, it just feels so hard to win because you just can't really dive them. You can't really force out much. You just have to kill their team and then kill them afterwards unless they make a mistake, which is why really, really good champion right now in this meta. I think it's quite strong. Definitely recommend picking it up if you guys are looking for an ADC to play. But I'm even farming my teammates jungle a little bit when I can. Just getting as much gold on myself as possible. The sooner that I can get to full build, the better. Again, this game's really all about like kind of me carrying in these team fights, them trying to dive onto me and me hopefully just escaping these, you know, deaths in whatever way I can with all the different stuff I have. But once again, just kind of sitting in mid lane, not forcing stuff. If they go in, that's perfect for me. That's exactly what you want as a Xayah. You want people to go in. You can see how many feathers I have here. Look at all that damage when I pull back the feathers. So much free damage. So easy. They just can't do anything when I'm diving in on them here. Or when they're diving on me, rather. Again, another free kill when they jump on me. And then here, unfortunately, I do get the stasis off. But this Darius damage is insane. I mean, he got full stacks and we do end up dying. I made a mistake by not flashing him there. So that was a bit unfortunate. But you can see how much it takes to kill me, how much they have to extend. Even with my teammates kind of dying here, this fight is still pretty close. And if I did flash that, we probably would win the fight. So if I just played slightly better, we could have ended up carrying that fight. But it does look pretty bad now because they are going to probably get the Elder Dragon. So that's a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. We'll skip forward a little bit. Not much to see here. Just they're going to get Elder. We'll go right here. But yeah, I believe they just get the Elder Dragon here. And even in this situation, they don't really have a way to close it out. So you can see how poorly of a job they're doing of pushing lanes. You know, they're just kind of ARAMing, just kind of fighting. And this is Master at this point in the season, which, I mean, I think I'm like top 300 at this point. I ended up reaching top 200 later on in this day. But like even here, these guys, they don't understand how to end the game. They're just all ARAMing in mid. They're just going for fights and team fights permanently. They're not pushing side lanes or using their advantages in any meaningful way. And so even despite the fact that they got the Elder and they're about to get Baron, you can see what I do. Instead of just going for a stupid fight on Baron, I push the mid wave because they can't end if they don't have waves. Obviously, all that really matters is the wave in the end of the day. So I know I have flash, I have everything, so I can stall for as long as I possibly can. And then once they come for me, that's when I'm going to use my stuff and I'm going to get out easily with my W, my ult, everything. You can see I'm just really focused on the waves here when you're in these types of situations. And that's really what you have to do. We're just trying to stall out until the Elder and Baron are gone. If you look on the scoreboard in the top left, you can tell Elder's gone once there's 2 minutes and 30 seconds until the next Elder spawns. And you can tell Baron's gone once there's 1 minute and 50 seconds until the next Baron spawns. So those are really the times I'm looking for. Once those times are gone, that's when we can take the fight. I don't want to fight earlier. I don't want my teammates to force stupid stuff. I'm just going to clear the wave. And just that's all I'm going to focus on. Once again, you see, this time they have one in top, one in bot. They're pushing their lead better this time. But because they didn't do this earlier, they're not going to be able to end. They just might be able to get an inhib or something. My teammates make a play and try to get a kill in top lane, which I do think that they get one, but one also dies. So in the end, it's not the worst. But the Kai'Sa then kind of splits up from her team, and we get a free kill here on her, I believe. So you can see they're kind of like splitting up and getting caught out. when you have to be a bit more patient and kind of sync your waves with your teammates. So a really important thing to understand when you're pushing with the Barons like this, and I do get caught out and die there, unfortunately. But an important thing to understand when you're pushing the Baron and you're, you know, pushing just with your teammates and you're on different side lanes, is you want to try to sync your waves together. So you want the bot lane wave to hit the bot lane tower at the same time that the mid lane hits the mid lane tower, and then the top lane hits the top lane tower. That way, they can't possibly deal with all three waves at once. Whereas if a bot lane wave comes and you clear it, and then now the mid lane wave comes and you clear it, and then the top, like if they're not synced together, it's a lot harder to actually pressure the end in the game. So that's a really important thing, understanding, you know, ending games. These guys clearly didn't do it well. They were kind of getting caught out. It's good that they were split pushing, but this time when they were split pushing, they were getting caught out at, you know, different intervals, and they weren't really able to end the game because of that. And again, if they'd split pushed earlier, when they got that first Baron, they would have pressured more turrets, and they probably would have been able to end or take more inhibs or something. So you're going to see they didn't really get much value out of that. And once again, even though we're behind in gold, I'm at like 4 items at this point. I'm extremely strong. I'm farming up. I'm late game Xayah. At this point, one fight goes our way, and we can just end up winning the game. And that's really what I want you guys to take away from this, is kind of understanding better how to end the game compared to where these guys clearly did not end the game well like they should have. It should have easily been a win for them. But now they stalled out. Now they have to deal with a fed Xayah, a fed Camille, Brand. You know, it's just really going to be difficult for them at this point. And I think we have like pretty inting teammates too. Like our Tryndamere, our Brand, they were not playing too well for sure. But even despite that, it does look like there's a decent chance that we're going to be able to win this game. But yeah, again, they kind of force onto us, and I'm just simply ulting. They can't really dive into a Xayah. Like, this is pretty bad by them trying to go into me like this. Again, you can see like with how much gold I have, how fed I am. They can't possibly dive onto me. We're going to kill 3 of them. And now we're going to probably look to get the Baron after this. And once again, another important thing, guys, in these late game scenarios is focusing on the waves. So I want to, you see, I immediately go to the mid wave. I'm going to want to clear top wave after that if none of my teammates do. Now my teammate does go for a kill here, so I end up walking up to see if we can get a pick on him. But what's most important is understanding the waves. So again, going straight to mid wave, going to clear that, and then go on to the Baron afterwards after we push the mid wave. Twisted Fate kind of ends here. I think he might end up dying. He doesn't die, so that's good. But we just want to force this Baron as fast as possible, get back, buy our Infinity Edge, get our last item, and then just, you know, focus on the Elder fight after that probably. And again, focusing on the waves, making sure they're all pushed out so that we can't end up getting ended on is going to be really important. So here we are, we're going to back, we're going to get that Infinity Edge. And at this point, we're pretty confident that we can honestly win the game. Their jungler is not alive for the start of the Dragons, so if we can force it right away, or force a fight, I think we'll be good. So again, you know, ending the games is kind of something that we don't have to deal with much, since usually people do give up. So I hope this video is a bit helpful in that respect. The Alistar is being really stupid here, so we end up getting a root on him. And a really important thing as well as ADC, guys, is stacking up your lethal tempo on the tanks, or stacking up your Conqueror. Like, you can see how fast I'm shooting. That's because I stacked up a ton of free lethal tempo on the Alistar there. So now I'm just, you know, rapid firing as fast as possible. And now the Vi ends up going in, she ends, and then we just go through mid, and we're going to end here. So again, kind of main takeaways from this game is don't give up when you have the scaling or anything like that. Xayah is kind of OP into dive comp, so hopefully you guys can utilize Xayah in your games. And lastly, understanding when you have the Baron, kind of syncing your waves together and split pushing with your team, not just going all mid lane and just trying to ARAM down mid when they have good wave clear like a Xayah or any good wave clear, because that's just not going to work, guys. You can see here, pretty hard carry. I think we'll go through the scoreboard in a second here, see what that looked like. Got the MVP, but yeah, I mean, like, our teammates' scorelines, we had a 1-11 Tryndamere. Our Camille I was duo with, they did really well. 8 and 9, I can't see, friendship points are in the way. 8 and 9 and 12 on the Twisted Fate, and 4, 9, 16 on the Brand. So our teammates really didn't do too well, and even despite that, we were able to come back and win. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.